Good evening. My name is Gunnery Sergeant Lytle, and what I'm going to talk to you a little bit tonight is about combat effectiveness and how a knowledge of war fighting, your knowledge, your own personal knowledge, as well as you influencing or pushing this knowledge down to your Marines can help you be a little bit more successful on today's modern battlefield, as well as to help the Marines of our past, our forefathers, be successful in their battlefield. War is a clash between two organized groups, a clash of human wills, and it's usually characterized by the use of military force. The essence of war is a violent struggle between two hostile, independent, or irreconcilable wills, each trying to impose itself on each other. Clausewitz called it Zakawi, which means two struggle. The number two, and then struggle, two struggle. And he also, it depicts the picture of two wrestlers interlocked in some type of a hold, trying to impose each other's, trying to inflict moves and counter moves on each other, both trying to knock each other to the ground. So if you want a little visualization, you can visualize that. War is just a process of continuous mutual adaptation and give and take, move and counter move, much like we do in chess. Friction, uncertainty, and the human dimensions are three things that I think, personally, a warrior must be aware of in order to successfully explore the battlefield, or battle space, or arena, or theater, whatever you want to call it. The first one I'm going to talk about is friction. It's a continuous presence in combat, and it's inevitable. It's always going to be there. It's the force that makes it apparently easy difficult. Friction is the force that resists all actions and zaps energy. According to NCDP-1 FMF Fleet Manual Warfighting, that's the definition of friction. It zaps energy, and it makes the easy seemingly impossible. Portrayed as a clash between two opposing wills, war appears to be a simple enterprise in practice. But once you start doing it, the conduct of war becomes extremely difficult because of the countless factors that impinge upon it. These factors are collectively be called friction. Friction. Two things rubbing each other, zapping energy, the intangible things that happen, things that you don't expect to happen, and so forth. The very essence of war as a clash between opposing wills creates friction itself. In this dynamic environment of interacting forces, friction abounds. Friction may be mental, as in indecisive over a course of action, or it may be physical, as in the enemy fire or terrain that you have to overcome. The friction I want to talk about tonight is self-induced. It means we do it to each other pretty much. I'm not talking about friction because of the enemy. I'm talking about friction that it's called self-induced friction, that we put upon ourselves when we're over there. It's caused by factors such as unclear goals, indecisive commanders, complex plans and strategies that Marine can't easily grasp. Those are the self-induced frictions that I hope to minimize when I'm leading a group of Marines over in Iraq or Afghanistan or in these other battle spaces that we're in nowadays. Whatever form it takes, because war is a human enterprise, friction will always have a psychological as well as physical impact on your Marines. And it can't be eliminated, gents. It's always going to be there. It's always going to be a presence. So the best, most effective way to train is to learn to deal with friction as it comes, not by trying to eliminate it. Everything doesn't go hunky-dory when you're over in the sand, so don't let everything go perfect as planned when you're back here in training. Let friction. Throw little monkey wrenches inside your game plan and stuff like that, and let your Marines practice reacting to it. The second factor I want to talk about is uncertainty. Uncertainty on every battlefield is inevitable. You're not always going to know what's going on. But it's most commonly referred to as the fog of war. Uncertainty pervades the battle in the form of unknowns about the enemy, about the environment, and even about the friendly situation. While we try to reduce these unknowns by gathering information, we have to realize that we can never eliminate them. The very nature of war makes the certainty impossible. All actions in war are based on incomplete, inaccurate, and sometimes even contradictory plans and the information that we receive from our intelligence sources. War is instrumentally unpredictable. At best, we can hope to determine probabilities and possibilities. This implies a certain standard of military judgment. What is possible and what isn't, what is probable and what is not. By judging probability, we make an estimate of our enemy's designs, and we act accordingly. We used to call it OODA, or OODA loop. The Marine are the unit that can get inside each other's OODA loop faster. That's the ones that can prevail. OODA stands for you orient, or you observe, you orient, you act, and decide. OODA, OODA loop. Whoever can observe the enemy, orient yourself on it, act and decide the fastest, those are the things that are going to eliminate some of these uncertainties on the battlefield. Because we can never eliminate uncertainty, we must learn to fight effectively despite it. We can do this by developing simple, flexible plans and planning for likely contingencies. We develop standard operation procedures across the board. We do it when we do with our immediate action drills and things of that nature, where everybody's on what we call the same sheet of music. We got to foster, and the best way, and the last thing I'm going to talk about uncertainty on, is the best way to do it is to foster the initiative amongst your subordinates. Put them in positions where they have to take charge, they have to be responsible, and they have to take the initiative. That's the only way that they're going to become reliable, going to be reliable in your eyes, and you can guarantee that when you go over there, they're going to have your back. It's by putting them in those situations in training. Finally, the last thing I want to talk about is the human dimension, you and I, our psychological, physical well-being. Because war is a clash between opposing human wills, the human dimension in war is central. It is the human dimension which influences war with its intangible moral factors. War is shaped by human nature and is subject to the complexities, inconsistencies, and peculiarities which characterize human behavior. Since war is an act of violence based on irreconcilable wills or a disagreement, it will invariably inflame and shape the human emotion. War is an extreme trial of moral and physical strength and stamina. Any view of the nature of war would hardly be accurate or complete without consideration of the effects of danger, fear, exhaustion, and privation of those who will be doing the fighting, which means your Marines. However, these effects vary greatly from case to case. Individuals and people react differently with stresses of war. An act that may break the will of one enemy may only serve to resolve and stiffen the strength of another. Human will is instilled through leadership, the driving force of all action in war. No degree of technological development or scientific calculation will diminish the human dimension of war. And any doctrine that tries to say that it will, or any manuals that say that you can get through war or any of your planning process that say that you don't have to take the human dimension into account, it's flawed. You always have to take into account the human dimension, especially when you're the planning process, especially during the conduct of war, the conduct of a battle, the conduct of a patrol. At a first glance, when we talk about war, it's a clash between human interests or a clash between two irreconcilable wills. It seems relatively simple. The closer examination reveals the complexities of war, and it takes the shape of one of the most demanding and trying of human endeavors. War is an extreme test of will. Friction, uncertainty, and human dimensions are the essential features. While dependent on the laws of science and the institution of creativity and art, war takes its fundamental character from the dynamic of human interaction. So I hope by taking these three things into consideration, the human will, different types of friction that you're going to receive, especially self-induced on the battlefield, and the fact that you can never eliminate the uncertainty of war, just to help you be a more effective leader and taking charge and leading your Marines out there.